All right, today I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about solving fractional equations. I know how much you guys love fractions, but we need to have at least an introduction to this type of thing before we talk about our main topic of the day. And what I want to look at is this 2 over thirds x is equal to 3 over 4. Now notice my 2 over 3, which is next to my x. Remember, we want to solve for x. There's multiplication in between the fraction and the variable, but the fraction itself is division. It doesn't divide it evenly. Right? So what we want to go ahead and do is I'm going to do this two separate ways for you. Okay, and way one. All right, I'm going to look at my equation, which has fractions on both sides. And this 2 over 3 is its own thing, okay? So I could take this in two separate steps. The 3 is division by 2. So if I want to get rid of the 3, I can multiply both sides by 3 or 3 over 1 to get it to cancel, okay? So if I get the 3 to cancel on this side, I'm just left with 2x. And then I just multiply straight across because nothing's going to simplify on the other side and end up with 9 over 4. It's still a fraction. Going back, and I go ahead and look at my 2 and my x. They're still being multiplied, but now 2 is a whole number. In order to undo multiplication with a whole number, I need to divide. And on this side, I'm going to write it as 2 over 1. Okay, because remember when we divide fractions, we do the keep, change, flip. Right? These are going to cancel, leaving me with the x. That's not my problem. Okay, that's straight up. Now I have to go ahead and say, okay, I need to keep the first fraction, change the sign to multiplication, flip the second fraction over, and nothing simplifies again in this case. So I need to multiply straight across. So x is going to be equal to 9 times 1, which is 9, and 4 times 2, which is 8. And I'm done. Took me 2 steps, but it's stuff that we have been doing the whole time. It's not anything that's crazy and hard to do. All right, now let's look at way 2. Way 2 is going to use the ideas that we just did in 2 separate steps in way 1. Okay, so in way 1, we went ahead. When I had to get rid of the division, I had to multiply by 3. The 3 ends up in the top here. When I did division by 2, the 2 ended up in the denominator. Okay, this is going to use the idea of what we call a reciprocal. And let's look and see how this works and how they can make our life easier. Okay. So if I have 2 over 3x is equal to 3 over 4, I can multiply, if this fraction is being multiplied by my variable, I can go ahead and multiply by what we call the reciprocal or the flip of that fraction. This allows me to have a fraction that is 6 over 6, which is equal to 1. And 1 times x is just x. That's what we want to happen. Which gives me just the variable on that side. Or you could think of them as canceling. Up to you. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I have 3 over 2 here. Nothing is going to simplify here. And I just multiply straight across, end up with 9 over 8. And I end up with the same answer here as I did here. I'm going to go ahead and use the reciprocal method on one more problem. All right, just so you kind of see how it works, get a little feel up for it. And I have negative 2/5 x is equal to 1/3. Okay. Now, first of all, if we have a negative with our x, we have to go ahead and multiply by another negative, because negative and negative gives me a positive. Right? So if I have my 2 over 5, it's negative, x is equal to 1 over 3. If I want to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal, which is the flip of this, which is 5 over 2, but it also has to be negative so I can get a positive value. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other. And if I go ahead, the negatives are going to cancel, the 5s and the 2s are going to cancel, leaving me with just x. Here I'm looking and I don't see anything that simplifies, so I'm going to multiply straight across. Now the negative and the positive here is going to give me a negative number. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6. And I'm done. And we're going to use this a little bit when we talk about our main topic for the day. It's not going to be a big thing we're going to talk about in this section, but I wanted you to see it. So when we visit the next video, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll see you in the next lesson.